Thanks, everyone. So my name is Karen Arthur, and I am an executive coach and a trainer as well. So I specialise in training, leadership training, and I do online and I also do in person. I also do personal development coaching as well, and next year I hope to expand that by quite a bit. So let me tell you a little bit, if this is going to actually do anything. Are we going to do anything? Yeah, there we go. A little bit about the services that I do. Executive coaching, you'll have heard me talking about that a lot. So I normally work with chief execs, directors of businesses, and we'll look at on a one-to-one basis where they are in their business and how, the challenges that they've got at that particular time. Sometimes it's around about behaviour, sometimes it's around about just really getting a handle on self-awareness. So I work a lot one-to-one with those types of people. Leadership training, as I say, I deliver it online and in person. Last week I was delivering a training course for Train the Trainer. So it's a one-day Train the Trainer course. And next week I'm delivering training on Step into Leadership. So those people are all managers. Some of them first-line managers, and some of them have experience in management and have been managers for a little while now, but are actually they need to step up and into more leadership role where they've got a bit of an oversight as to what's going on in the business. And also personal development coaching. So I some of the people that I work with on that sort of personal development would be, for example, I have had very recently a lawyer who has been promoted to the board. She's going to become a partner soon, and really just working on how she can be heard at the board table amongst perhaps a table of well-established lawyers. So those sorts of things I can help people with. I'm not really a career coach, but if it's more about sort of personal development and how that person become more confident, then I can certainly help with that. So the one thing that I use for all of these, the tool that is common to all of those services, is the personality profiling. I have mentioned this in the past, and I'll just take you through a little bit more about what personality profiling is and what it can do. So the personality profiling that I use is from the People Reader. So there's two parts to it. There's the Essence profile and also the Clarity profile. So let me just show you a little bit about Essence. So our Essence, the Essence analysis is designed to help you understand your driving forces and your core values. What does that mean for you as an individual? So our core drivers are our beliefs that shape who we are. We form these, quite early in our lives. Between about the ages of 7 and 11, we know what's right and what's wrong. We know what feels right for us, what doesn't feel right for us, and our personalities are really beginning to be formed then. Lots of people can influence those. Those are our parents, perhaps teachers, those people who influence us round about us. So they will all be beginning to help us to form those core drivers and our driving forces. And they're all very individual to us, obviously, and they give us the motivation and they fulfill our lives, because if our core values are being met, then that tends to help and drive us forward in the best way that we can. So we all see the world slightly differently from a different perspective, and we all tend to believe that our perspective is the right one. So someone coming from a different culture, religion, circumstance than ourselves may see a situation in a completely different way. So in my experience then, people who share values, even without realizing that they share the same values, they gravitate together, they work really well together, they share relationships really well together. But some of them who don't share the same values, and they may not even realize why they just don't get on with a particular person, it's generally because their values just don't meet up. And for me, I often find this in organizations. You know, if the chief exec has got completely different values from the rest of the organization, that can cause real conflict, and he or she needs to then think about how they are going to use their behavior in a different way in order to be able to communicate more effectively with their team. So I think that what I'll do is I will show you the next slide. And this is just an example of, and this is a person who I have done quite a lot of work with. She's an HR director. So this is how her profile came out. So there's 6 drivers, as you can see there. So these are all based on it's called The 6 Ideals, and this was a book that was written way back in 1920, and it's called The 6 Ideals of Men. You wouldn't get off with that now, obviously. So they're based on the theoretical, utilitarian, aesthetic, the social, and the political, and then finally traditional. So you can see that this person here got quite high, sort of her highest drivers are social. She would expect that. She's an HR person. She's got a real connection with people. So being social and listening to what people have got to say, you would expect that to be a high driver for her in her own personality. She likes the theory as well. She likes process, she likes procedure, all of those things. Again, really high. As an HR director, you would expect her to like to follow policy, to like to follow procedure, all of those sorts of things. So her core drivers sit really well with her, her chosen career. And also tradition. There's no black and white. There's no grey areas in HR. It's all black and white. You're either right or you're wrong. It's either this or it's that. So she likes tradition. She likes things to be, the processes to be followed, and all the I's to be dotted, T's to be crossed. She's an absolute completer finisher. So all of her core values sit really well with the career that she's gone into. For those who have got very different core values, she begins to get into conflict with them. So let's have a look at the next part of the report. So 2 separate reports. The Essence report is about 12 or 16 pages long. I'm giving you a tiny snippet here today. And the same with the Clarity report. So the Clarity report is about 12 to 16 pages long, depending on how complex you are. It can be as much as 16 pages. So the Clarity report is designed to help you to understand the way you behave and how you change that behavior in certain circumstances. So what we all do is we have got behaviors that we're going to see, and this is the same lady again. So we're going to see her behavior. So what I always say is, your basic behavior is the way that you will behave when no one's looking. So that's when you kick your shoes off when you come in through the door. You've had a really crap day, so you're going to be grumpy and all of those things, or else you've just naturally got that sort of spark about you. So your basic behavior is how you will behave when no one's looking. But we're really complex beings. So what we do is we naturally, in our subconscious, fit in with what's happening around us, the people around us, the situations around us as well. So this report is based on the DISC model, and I'll show you that in just a second. But the DISC theory was originated, if I can say that, by a psychologist called William Moulton Marsden. Fun fact, he was the person who created Superwoman in the 1920s again. So it's been around for a long time. There's a lot of scientific evidence behind what Marsden put together all those years ago. And he's based this DISC model on 4 innate behaviors that we have as individuals. So he talks about dominance, influence, steadiness, and also compliance. So we'll have a look at what that means as well. So let me just move on to the next slide, if that will do that. So again, this is the same lady's profile. So you will see this is the DISC model on this side over here that says DISC here. So people who are in the D section up here, really task-orientated, fast-moving people. They like things, yeah, tell me what I have to do. I'm doing it now, I'm moving on. They just get on with things. And then we'll look at the I. So those are the influencers in your team. So those are the people that can absolutely sell a message to anyone. Then we've got the steadiness down at the bottom. So they're people-focused, people down there, and they can be seen as passive or cautious. So they'll want to think twice before they act. And then we've got the C up here. So they can be passive and cautious and very task orientated. So those tend to be people like, you know, I am generalizing here, but people who like a lot of analysis, accountants, those sort of things, wealth managers, they all sit really high on compliance, as you would expect. So this is this lady's profile here. Now, as you can see, the gray line is her basic behavior. So that's how she will behave when no one's looking. And then what happens is she adapts her behavior. So this was done in a work environment. So this will be, her mindset will be around and about her work. So this is how she behaves when she is at work. So you can see she becomes a much smaller version of herself. She's quite, she can be quite an influencer. She tones that down because she's an HR director. You know, it's not proper for in her thoughts to be seen as an influencer. You follow the process and you give people a fair hearing. So she's from that perspective, she's drawn herself in a fair bit. She is, as you would expect, steady, and she's a people person, so very people focused and orientated. And interestingly here, where we can see the accuracy in structure, she pulls herself in a bit from that as well. And knowing the individual, I can see exactly what she's doing there, because she works in an environment that's quite fast paced. It's very male orientated, and she will be pulling that away from, you know, the structure, although it is our want to actually say this is the process, the policy is a da 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 da. She pulls that in and tries to contain that in a way that it works for the culture of the business. So it's really interesting, this. I mean, I'm giving you a tiny snippet. There is lots and lots of graphs and science behind the clarity report, as there is for Essence. But what it does is it gives us an overall thought about how we behave as individuals. I'm just going to move this on quickly because I can chat for ages. How am I doing for time, Yanis?
I didn't start the clock.
Okay.
But I think we've got probably a couple of minutes, to be honest.
Okay, perfect. I'm very good. Okay. So my offer to you today is, would you like to understand yourself and how your behaviors impact how you're behaving? It's really interesting. I'm involved in another group and I've done it for the group, so I could do it for this group to see where our challenges are, where we've got lots of really good skills, where perhaps we're lacking in skills, which would help us to develop our team. So if anyone's interested in that, please get in touch. I'm more than happy to do it. And it takes me about an hour to go through the report with you. So it's talking about you for an hour, and who doesn't like to talk about themselves? You could have better relationships with, you know, your personal relationships, but also your business relationships. What this will help you to do is to understand other people and how they are behaving. So you can then, you know, from a point of view of perhaps trying to close a deal, perhaps trying to get in with a new client, you will understand how they are behaving, which will in fact help you to get more deals over the line, to be able to have better relationships, to build those relationships so you've got a really close network. So if anyone would like to do that, please get in touch, and I'm more than happy to do that. For me, these sorts of things, the profiles are really great for HR managers, HR directors, and some people roll out to their team, some people roll out to their senior team. For business owners, sometimes the biggest impact on any business is the way that the business owner or the leader is behaving. And once they understand how they're behaving and why they're behaving in that way, it really helps them to make the changes. Also sales teams, absolute, it's a game changer for sales teams because they understand how they're behaving and also how others react to them as well. I'm going to finish up there because I could speak about this from now till lunchtime, but I won't. So thank you so much for listening. If you would like to learn any more about it, if you'd like to have your profile done or anyone in your organization done, I'm more than happy to do that for you. And I'll say thank you for listening because I'm not sure we've got any time for questions right now.